Today, we head to Chepstow, the hometown of Harry Potter author JK Rowling. Was this her inspiration? Then we visit the South Wales Valleys. Whole communities formed by coal mining. And ironworks paving the way for historic treasures. Welcome to Wales. 1,000 years of history, right here. Shall I leave the moustache? Nah. I'm the only person on this platform, and the trains are only going as far as Chepstow because Gloucester's been cut off by a landslide. Oh, it's cold. And they're telling me that trains are gonna go really, really low levels from Monday the 25th, so good luck to me. Board of England. Let's go back to Wales. This is Chepstow. This town is a border town right between Wales and England. What's this for a view? In 1062 this was built, which is 4 years before William the Conqueror invaded and took rule. It was made by one of his allies and it was used for 600 years. On top of limestone cliffs. I mean, this location is really, really super impressive. And this one's pretty well preserved. It's huge. It stands right next to the River Wye, which is the 4th longest river in the whole of the UK. And if you had look a bit further down, the big bridges, they go across the River Severn, which is the longest river in the UK. So this is a very, very important area right here. You know, you can feel history in these places. And there's so many more of these in Wales, which I'm hoping to explore over the next few weeks. And this is actually the oldest castle in Britain. It's the oldest surviving stone fortification since the Roman days. This is where the Normans first got into Wales. And yes, they used it first for military uses. They used it over time, sometimes for military uses, during the Civil War a little bit, but it was much more of a house for nobility, as the many costumes inside will show you. But we can't go in to have a look at them because, well, something's going on in the world right now. Thank you, seagulls, you didn't take my drone down. That's very nice of you. But you know, this is a lovely little town. This town's been here since the 14th century. That's when it was given its royal charter. So much history here on these banks. That's frost, by the way, not snow. And this is a very imaginatively named pub. That's a memorial to the wars, the Great Wars, the First World War and also the Second World War, with poppies left. That's the traditional thing because the wars were fought in poppy fields. You'll find these in most towns here in the UK. Looks like a castle, but it's just a vacant store. A lot of shops struggling, especially in towns like this that rely on people coming from other places. And of course, you're not allowed to do that anymore. And I'm glad I came up this way because I forgot you have the old city gates here. Recognise the flag? We're keeping them out. They can just come in on the other bridge at the bottom. It snowed the next day, but that didn't stop me going up the South Wales Valleys early the next morning. Castle Cock guards the entrance to the Taff Gorge, right at the south of the valleys. The first castle here was also built almost 1,000 years ago, but was destroyed. The current castle was built by the Marquess of Bute in the last 19th century as a country retreat. So where I'm going today is up in the Rhondda Valleys. So this railway line was built for the coal mines back in the 1800s. Around about the 1840s, the Marquess of Bute, who had a big shareholding in the Cardiff docks, was the one who first invested because the coal was so deep, very difficult and very expensive to get. I keep hearing noises behind me. If you look at the population for the Rhondda, today it's about 60 to 70,000 people. But in the 1800s, the early 1800s before coal, there was less than 1,000 people up here. In the 1920s, at the peak, 167,000. I mean, this was a coal town and it was populated for coal. My train's coming. Passing the town of Porth, the characteristic terraced houses of the valleys become more prominent. They were speaking Welsh, so there's still a lot of Welsh up here now. I think people either speak a first or second language. You hear a fair bit of it up here. And I'm getting my accent back. So up there, you can probably see there's a chapel. So the Welsh Valleys also, especially the Rhondda, are very much known for their chapels. And of course, Welsh male voice choirs all came from up here. And then you see the rows of terraced houses. Those were the coalmen's houses, the workers' houses, all together, waiting for them to go up into the pits, into the mines. And then on this left side here, looking over into Blaencwm, I mean, up there, there's some flags up there which you probably can't see. You can climb up there in the summer. You could do it in the winter if you wanted, but I wouldn't advise it. This is a really, really beautiful, beautiful place. So much history. This is where I used to come to relax when I was doing my school exams, because there's just something about it, something special. And there's another chapel just on this side here, if I can find, oh yeah, I can find a place to have a look at it here. This is where the Welsh revival happened back in the 1800s. So many people turned to Christianity back then. Really such a beautiful, beautiful part of the world that has kind of been neglected. And a lot of the population works in Cardiff. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make this a extra housing area for Cardiff, just to maintain these communities. So people still have something, you know. It's been a tough 4 decades here, or even longer. It started back after the wars, but since the 1970s, 80s, oh, it's been tough.
To arrive at platform 3 will be the 12:29 Transport for Wales service to Merthyr Tydfil.
The River Taff, such an important river in this part of the world, comes from up here. I mean, Merthyr is very depressed, very high unemployment, very much these days. But you know, before they had the world's most productive iron works up at Cyfarthfa, and had four ironworks, and then from there it went to coal. Then it declined again. It's been up and down, and hasn't been easy going in this town. Little remains of the heritage in Merthyr, but the 1820s housing is preserved to remember the famous Welsh composer, Joseph Parry. And this here is, well, one time the most productive ironworks in the world. This is from 1760, Cyfarthfa Ironworks, because the castle just across here is Cyfarthfa as well. This is what remains. The Crochet family managed the Cyfarthfa Ironworks for 3 generations, almost 100 years. They built the Cyfarthfa Castle in 1824, and like Castle Cock, it was not a real castle, just a 72-room mansion. Their land stretched wide across the Taff Valley, clues of the industrial heritage dotted around. Yes, I nearly crashed my drone into the viaduct. Luckily I could see what I was doing. I was a little bit afraid, I'll be honest with you. But I did my first hand-held takeoff and catch. Getting somewhere, I think. Possibly, maybe. This is kind of Harry Potter-esque, but this is the Cefn Coed viaduct, and this was part of the Merthyr Tydfil railway. So this one went further north into the mountains, because where we are now, and the road behind us on the bridge, there, that's the Heads of the Valleys road. So this is kind of the top of the valleys, traditionally. We're at the boundary between the coalfields and just the mountains, the Brecon Beacons, which are fantastically beautiful. And that road provides the link, so this one went right up there, this viaduct, and it was built for the ironworks that I was showing you earlier. So this all connects in together. I mean, this is the thing with Merthyr. There's clues of the past, there's clues of the heritage, but it's not all around you like there was in Treherbert. And that was a special place. This, you see the little things, and this is a very, very special viaduct. I've never been here before, and this did something for me, this really did. So my GoPro's Daot and cut off the last bit of that, so I'm gonna talk to the horses instead. Nay. That's a seriously unimpressed horse. Does not like the snow. Right, I'm gonna head back down to Cardiff. I planned to go across the Heads of the Valleys road actually, but I've run out of time today. So, Cardiff it is. Capital of Wales. Unofficial path to the top, I think. I arrived in Cardiff at dusk, too tired to explore anymore. But I will explore again soon.